why learn, and why are we? This book also talks about like why are we switching our identity to lifelong learning. He kind of drops an explanation about why lifelong learning is important.
Yeah.
And he says, Stephen Kotler, he says, lifelong learning keeps the brain sharp, both preventing cognitive decline, training up memory. It also boosts confidence, communication skills, career opportunities. These improvements are reasons psychologists consider lifelong learning foundational to satisfaction and well-being. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're already on the right step. If you start reading these books, you're taking another step. And if you come and talk to us sometimes, I'm just kidding. That's like the third level.
That's
level.
like next level.
But why learn? I mean, if you want to achieve anything, like the idea that like knowledge is power is probably one of the realest things in my opinion. Like it sounds corny, but sayings are corny because they're so true. They're so like true, and they're so obvious that you're just like, why do we have to even have it in a saying?
They're worth repeating.
They're worth repeating. And so like really having an in-depth knowledge, like if you want to be really good at something, you need to understand and like almost be an expert at that, right? So you can't just learn the surface level. You can't just take an intro class to economics and be like, you know what, I can go invest. You can't take an intro class to finance and be like, you know what, I'm the next Warren Buffett. Like it's easy. So you need to have this idea that to learn something really is not, you can't learn it. I guess the way I'm trying to phrase it is like, once you start learning, this is something he says, once you start learning about something, you realize how much you don't know about that something.
Yes,
and even when you continuously keep learning about it, you're like, wow, there's so much more to know. So that's why lifelong learning is really something that you should adopt, because like if you really want to become really good at something, you'll realize that you can never become the best or perfect at it, but you can continuously you
can always get better.
Always get better. And like obviously people like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they're exceptional people when it comes to reading. That's one of the big reasons why I started reading. I was like, all these successful people just love to read, then that has to be like the one commonality.
There's got to be something there, right? There has to be.
But quickly though, when you want to learn, you need the right mindset to approach learning. Because if you have the wrong mindset, like we've already talked about this, there's a difference between a growth and a fixed mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, that makes it very hard for you to learn. Your brain automatically goes like, you know, why do we even need to learn this? Like, what's the whole point? Like, well,
I mean, you're just like, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like literally like I'm good. But when you have a growth mindset, this actually opens up your brain to actually want to absorb and kind of store that information you're learning. It's like, it's really weird how like the way you perceive the world changes how your brain functions. So it I guess it kind of really opens up like that door to being like, okay, brain, like let's start learning this. Let's be excited about learning it. And it allows you to take in more information a lot easier. And I mean, like, anything else you want to add on growth mindset though?
I mean, we had a whole episode on it, and I think we're gonna hit it more later actually. So I think just knowing that you can improve and that affects how you will improve, that's the key idea there. But another thing that I want to talk about actually, or I went on real quick, is truth filters. And so you talked about how knowledge is power, right? Mm-hmm. Well, part of that power is how accurate is your knowledge, right? Because if your knowledge is not even close to reflecting reality, well, then your knowledge has no power. It's not accurate. You're powerless.
Whoa, I need you to repeat that. That was a little profound for me. I need you to repeat that. Whoa, slow down. Say that again.
Hold on. Let me. Sometimes I get caught in my own words. I'm not sure what I said, but let's see. What did I say? If your knowledge is inaccurate, then your knowledge is powerless. Okay.
Hey, so someone write that down. Quote that man.
I have, I have some inner Amelicus Nelius coming out of me today.
I'm rubbing off on him.
He really is. But just what we need to have is truth filters. And so two things that Kotler, the author of the book Art of Impossible, he says that are good truth filters are first principle thinking, and then the method that we're actually going to talk about today, which is the 5 books of stupid. Or is that what he talks about it?
He calls it his 5 checks. So there was first principles, and then his 5 checks were just he asked 5 experts like, yo, is this he asks, if he has a question, he'll ask 5 experts, and if he finds something like contradiction, he'll ask 5 more. But yeah, it's part of the process. It's part of the process.
And then just real quick, so you guys have probably heard about first principle thinking. It's a big thing that Elon Musk talks about. I'm a huge fan of MIT, and MIT is all about like. Anyways, I'm a little geeky sometimes.
But they're animals. I just want to add, they're animals of beaver, which...
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a beaver. And the reason why it's a beaver is nature's natural engineer. If you think about the dams.
No.
The only reason I know this is because of Michael Saylor. But I thought that was very interesting.
That is really interesting, actually.
It's really interesting. But yeah, what is first
Yeah,
principle thinking?
just real quick, first principle thinking is thinking from the foundations of something. So the example that Kotler went over in the book was just that Elon, when he was trying to build SpaceX, he saw that the industry was very inefficient in how they priced their rockets, and that he saw that the materials cost in sum about 1/10 of the actual cost. And then he went and actually just built the rocket for 1/10 of the actual cost because he was like, yeah, you guys are wrong. Like, this is actually not as much as you think it is. And then he did it, and that's first principle thinking. As an example, if you want to learn more, go to YouTube. We'll check it out more
even
later.
on YouTube. I think we're gonna do an episode on first principle thinking because even YouTube doesn't. I don't think it does a service to really explain what it is.
Absolutely.
We'll go in depth and figure it out. But first principle thinking is an amazing way to think, and definitely look more into it. But we'll have an episode out.